Yes, good morning. This is Dr. Bob Flower and your Tuesday, May 3rd Master Pattern Report. Okay, well, folks, it looks like it's time for economic and political cannibalism. The government is embarking on a search and destroy mission against larger financial institutions. See what they could do to put more money in the coffers and make themselves look like heroes. Deutsche Bank is next up. There are the premise against Deutsche Bank is mortgage fraud. Now, of course, we're not going to be investigating the agencies that oversee and had a dominion over these institutions during the 2008 bailout. I mean, that would be getting to the heart of things, folks. So we need scapegoats, and while I have no particular love for banks, and in particular foreign banks, once again another travesty, another digression from the truth, and that is that our government agencies are just as bad and poor as our institutions who are ripping people off are. Okay, nothing that's new, but just a demonstration of that fact. Okay, let's talk a little about the markets. We're going to see some key market moves today, May 2nd, as well as the 10th and the 12th in the S&P. Silver, we'll see a move on the 4th and on the 6th this week. And we personally are hedging. We're doing a straddle on silver to the downside. We think we're going to be looking at somewhere around $35 silver, which is what we had predicted a couple of weeks. All right, oil is headed for $1.20. Gas certainly looks like we're going to be seeing $5 gas by Memorial Day, and maybe $6 gas by midsummer. This is certainly going to make the blood boil, and whatever positives the Democrats and President Obama think that they have in place are not going to be in place. Also, our stock CRM, Salesforce.com, is continuing to sell off very nicely, so stay short. Commodities will be in decline here for a while, and the S&P will remain up with the intermittent sell-offs through the summer. And once again, we see a dissipation in this power of the S&P. Really occurring sometimes towards the end of the summer, tail end of August, beginning of September. Okay, so keep your eyes on that too. Might be a very good time to be going short at that period of time. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about intelligence. Okay, our intelligence from some sources as well as through the Master Pattern says that offshore accounts are being robbed. That's right, folks, you heard me, robbed. What seems to be happening is money parked in these offshore banks is disappearing, and large sums. And unfortunately for the depositors, there's really very little recourse because there isn't any insurance, and the fact that the money is offshore doesn't necessarily mean that it's illegal money. But it's almost impossible to gain any sort of credible recovery for events of this type. So, not to say that a lot of us have money offshore, but just an indication of things breaking down, as we've said all along, that is going to happen. And so flagrantly as well. Also, large accounts here in the States are being restricted from withdrawals. So we've had a couple of instances where large-scale accounts, $2-3 million, have been unable to access the funds for transactions. And the funniest thing is, if you look on the back of your banking contract, you'll see that there's a provision for that. They do not necessarily have to make the money available when you need it. And they're starting to enforce this. So more and more restrictions. You see, folks, what happened here is they got the money there was a whole bunch of money at first in the early 2000s in a .com. They got the money out of that. All right, the Greenspan knocked the crap out of it, scared the living hell out of everybody, and we had a collapse. And money then fleed. At that point, they thought they were going to get it into stocks, which they've been trying to do for 20 years now. But instead, it went into real estate, and it caused a real estate boom. Then they blew up the real estate boom, and now what's happening is the money has finally made it over into treasuries and securities, or at least securities in the beginning of the end of 2007, beginning of 2008, when the real estate bust occurred. So now they have it in a concentrated area, the stock market, securities, treasuries. Now they can control it much better. And that's exactly what they're doing and what they're going to do. So the trick is to try and find a way of double banging them, getting them back with their own tricks. And we are designing a plan to do that. Right now, the only thing you have going for you is to put money in your mattress. And you sleep better with it. It's nice and comfortable, I can assure you. I do it myself. But it's not the best way to fly. Okay, what else do we have here? Our market testing on the stock market program is going slower than we liked. We had to extend the testing period for another 60 days, but we do like what we see so far. I'm just not comfortable with it yet, and not that confident that I could turn around and say, okay, here's what we're going to do, and here's how we're going to do it. But I will let you know. Okay. Politics. Republican long shot for the nomination, but sure winner. Condoleezza Rice. She can win. Hard effort must be put forward to convince her, and I know people have talked to her, but I think a big public push may put her over the top. She's dynamic. She's intelligent. She's right mind. She can win. Our governance website is almost finished. We're loaded with innovative programs for enabling governance format, which is the ability to direct enable citizens to prevail. Have a good week. Keep your eyes open. Just don't open your pockets, folks. Hold on tight. Hold on tight. Have a good week.